My brothers and sisters, you are now watching The Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need. And I hope you enjoy the video. It's about that time. It is about that time for me to review a game to where I've been knocking a lot of suckers out, okay, both offline and online. And I finally played enough of this game, so I finally feel like I can give my review for it. So here will be this review for that EA Sports UFC. So let's just hop straight into it. EA Sports UFC, are you worth the 60 bones?
John Jones wins by knockout.
Huge punch for the victory.
Joe, here's the finish on our fight replay.
And as we can see here in the replay, it was the hook that ended this fight. Let's take a look at it one more time here. Perfect timing on this punch, and it lands.
What you can expect in EA Sports UFC is a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, and a lot of tears. Oh yeah, and a lot of rage quits, because these dudes online will rage quit on you with the quickness the second something does not go their way. It's ridiculous. But no, you can expect to see a lot of blood, a lot of a lot of knockouts, a lot of takedowns, a lot of transitions, a lot of submissions, a lot of men on top of each other. It captures all of UFC in its glory and puts it into this game for you to enjoy. I've had quite a few people ask me, dude, I kind of want this game, but I'm not like really a hardcore UFC fan like that, but I kind of want a fighting game on these next gen consoles, and I just cannot wait for Mortal Kombat X to come. I'm right there with you. Like, I'm not a hardcore fan of UFC. I do watch it from time to time, I do enjoy the sport. But the main reason why I got this game is because I wanted a fighting game on these next gen consoles. And don't say Injustice, because I got that last gen, So but what you can expect in EA Sports UFC is, all of today's top UFC fighters thrown into this game. Their fighting styles and moves and all, and you get to play as your favorite UFC fighters and just whoop up on suckers. That's really what the game is about. One thing I really do like about this game is if you're playing as John Jones or Cain Velasquez or Anthony Pettis, the list goes on. You actually feel like, you're those fighters, because each fighter, they have their fighting style. I thought this game did a great job of capturing the way these fighters fight in real life and putting that style of fighting, into this game, so whoever you're playing as, you actually feel like you're you're actually that fighter, and it captures, just brings realism to the game. So I like it from that standpoint. Moving on to them graphics stuff, because graphics are it seems like graphics are now more important than the actual game itself these days, right? Again, I'm not a graphics guy. Graphics are more so of a luxury to me than it is for others, But if you're a graphics whore and you've been thinking about getting this game, you might as well just scratch this game off your list right now, because this game is not 1080p 60 frames. It is 900p 30 frames per second on both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I got over that real quickly, but again, if you're a graphics whore, you might be really disappointed with that. And I just thought personally, because this game was made specifically for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, like, this game is not cross-gen, it was made specifically for next-gen consoles, and it uses, the new EA Sports Ignite engine, which I need to see more of. I'm not really. I don't know. All the other engines I've seen, for these next gen games, they just are more impressive than the EA Sports Ignite engine. It's like, I don't know. I just need to see more of what this engine can do. But because this game was made specifically for next gen and it has a new engine, you would have hoped, to have this game be in full HD, but it's not. But again, for me, I kind of got over that real quickly because I'm not a graphics guy. And granted, this game still looks great. This game had a lot of detail in it, from the sweat to the blood to the cuts, to when a fighter, gets hit, in a certain area, like you actually see their face like squinch up, when they're breathing, like inhaling and exhaling, you actually see like their stomach go up, like stuff like that. That's detail in this game. So the game, yes, it's not full HD, but it still looks great, but again, if you're a graphics whore, scratch this game off your list, but let's move on to the gameplay. This is a UFC game. If you've never played a UFC game before, UFC, it really has this skill gap that I like about it. It's a learning curve to playing this game. Do not buy this game, put the disc inside of your system, let it install and hop straight online. You will get your booty whipped. Okay, because you actually, like, this is one of the fighting games you actually better go through the walkthroughs and try to learn everything about this game, from the stand-up game to the ground control to the clinch control to the submissions. Everything about this game, you really want to learn this game because this game has a learning curve to it. There is a skill gap for the players that actually take the time to learn all of the mechanics in this game to the players that don't, but that's one thing I really like about this game. You actually have to sit down and learn this game, and doing that, it has that skill gap between players. So I really like that in the gameplay. I love when fighting games have that massive skill gap, so I love that. The gameplay mechanics are great. It really feels like, a UFC game. There's so many different things, and different controls that do different things, at different times. And, you actually have to, have some great reflexes and stuff like that. Like, stuff like that, it just offers a skill gap. This game is not for casuals to play, so I love that about the game. And I just thought, as far as the gameplay is great in this game. It really feels like a UFC game. You really have to sit down and take your time to learn everything about this game to really get good at this game. And from the gameplay standpoint, this game is amazing. But let's move on to that career mode now. Alright, so the career mode in EA Sports UFC, which is pretty much your main mode in this game. You have the Fight Now, which is like your arcade mode. You have the career mode, and you have the online. For me, I spend about 95% of my time in this mode while playing this game. This is where I get most of my enjoyment while playing this game. The career mode is where you can create your own fighter, and you start from the bottom. Started from the bottom now, yeah. You start from the bottom. You fight your way up to the top in hopes of becoming the next UFC star, the next UFC champion, So you create your own fighter, and, you go from fighting, the scrubs to fighting the big boys, So, for what is worth, the career mode in this game is good. You can create your own fighter by either using the customization that's offered to you in this game, or you can use the game face feature, which is supposedly supposed to let you import your face into this game and then have your fighter resemble you as much as possible. Unfortunately, when I tried to use the game face feature, I got nothing but error. And I was just like, screw you. But some people successfully did use the game face feature, but when I'm looking at their faces, I'm just like, like, I can't, like you can see somewhere in there their face is trying to come out, but it just looks like stretched out. So I don't know. Like, the game face feature, it's cool, but it could have been vastly improved. Like, that could have been worked on a little bit more. It's good that it's in there, you know, but they could have definitely worked on that a little bit more. And hopefully, if there is another installment into this franchise, you know, they really try to improve that game face feature. But it's there, I guess, you know. But the career mode, comparing it to something like NBA 2K14, so whether my career is not perfect, there are still definitely flaws. Like, I could just go down the list with stuff that 2K needs to improve on. But in the NBA 2K14, my career, one thing I really like about it is how it's really in depth, you know, and it almost has like a storyline behind it, you know. So I would have hoped for that in the career mode in this game, that it kind of went more in depth, but it really doesn't. It's kind of like a bare bones career mode. You create your fighter, you train, and you go from fighting match to match to match to match, and really that's it. And you know, so it's really like a bare bones career mode, and you would have just hoped for more layers to the career mode, but it's not there. So and because it's like really like the main mode in this game, to me, you know, it's kind of disappointing that, you know, they didn't, you know, try to put a little bit more effort into the career mode. So that's really like the main complaint I have with the career mode. It's just too bare bones, and they could have went more in depth with it. But that's that. Moving on to the online, you can fight against your friends, you can fight against, you know, people around the world, or you can go to these online championship matches and try to climb to the top of the rankings, you know, by beating people, you know, in that mode. So the online is great. You know, I've played a couple of games on online. You know, the lag is there, but so far I haven't experienced nothing that's just like, oh my gosh, rage quit. like the lag never becomes just unbearable. It's never gotten like that bad. So the online, you know, is good, you know. So from everything from this game, it's a good game, but it definitely could have been worked on more. You know, they definitely could have put, you know, more effort in, you know, into this game and stuff like that. But for what it is, it's a good game. You know, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. You know, if you are a hardcore fan of UFC and you know, you like to play games like this, I definitely recommend you get this game. You know, if you're not really into UFC and you're kind of interested in this game, I'd say either wait for a price drop or just try to get this game at, you know, a deal or something like that. Because even though it's a good game, I wouldn't say it's worth the 60 bones. You know, I again, for some reason, 8s these days to games are like labeled as bad scores. I don't know. Like, the game is still good. I'm just saying that if you're not really into UFC like that, I'd say keep your $60. But if you're really a hardcore fan of UFC and you love games like this and love games that have a skill gap and a learning curve to it, this game is definitely, you know, a good game, you know, from that standpoint. But I give it an 8 out of 10, a solid 8 out of 10. Again, 8s are not bad scores. What is wrong with you, bastard? But that's my review for EA Sports UFC. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. And yeah, I'm about to go back to career mode.